Project UX, the UX show for startups.
All of us are aware of the paper business card problems we have. You lose them, and when you need them the most, you run out of them. The moment you printed 500 of them, something changes, like your email or something. And you go to a conference, you end up with a bunch of cards. When you come home, you already forgotten the people you have met or what is the context on them. Trill solves this problem and does much more. It's like a bump, but not with the awkward bump. You can share this card with anyone around you with the speed of the sound. With the Trill app, it's very easy to sign in. This is how you sign in. You can connect with LinkedIn, and it automatically pulls up the LinkedIn card for you. It creates card for you just like this. You can add even more if you want more. Otherwise, it's good to go, and you can readily start sharing. The way you share it is, as I said, over the sound wave. So you touch it, and with the sound, the other phone having my app would receive it. You heard a light, faint chirp sound. When you receive it, either you accept or ignore the card. And once you accept it, you are inside the app for the contacts, and you can see that this is the card you saved. And also, once you do that, there is a possibility of writing the notes and tags on it so that you don't forget the contacts what you had. Here is what I wrote down. I said, I met this person and he likes to drive. For a salesperson, it's important to know what a person is looking for, the other person, to make the sale. So he writes the note saying that he needs to follow up. It automatically tags the location where you met so that at least you get started off with some context. And then you can add many more, saying that he's a UX designer and all. And most of all, it's all searchable. You can easily search in the app. Given that, that is what you do with the card received. But what about you? I know my friends who are doing 2 jobs or who have a lot of hobbies. One solution fit all the needs is not the right way to go. Like, you go to somewhere with a purpose. So having multiple cards are the solution for a sender.
Yeah, so Anjali, you've done a good job creating a fairly simple product for something that really is, a user issue. I have that myself. I'll go to a conference and I'll meet a bunch of people, and then I'll totally forget who they are, and I'll have a stack of business cards, and who are these people? I want to point out that you're essentially replacing a human interaction, sort of. You're still interacting with that person, but there's a physical thing that you're doing that you're replacing, which is to hand somebody a piece of paper. Maybe not so much in the United States, but there are certain cultures that make a big choreography out of that. Like certain Asian cultures have like a bow, and they accept it, and they look at it. I feel like you should celebrate that, because that was the one thing that I felt was a little disappointing when I saw like what it looks like when you receive it. You basically just get the native iOS or Android standard alert. That's something that you could really invest a lot of design effort into. Maybe have some nice animation, have something that celebrates the fact that you just got this card, to try to replicate that emotional connection that you have when you really are handing somebody a physical business card.
One of the things that I liked the most was that you could send to multiple people at one time. One thing I think that would help with that is that once you receive a business card, it goes back to the contact list. But if you're getting a bunch of at one time from a group of people, or maybe you're sending them and you're not really paying attention to the app, and you come back, remembering which one of those you just got, maybe in the list, since it's sorted alphabetically, may be slightly cumbersome. So something to look at, either recent or new, or some way to kind of highlight what the ones you just received would be very helpful, so you can immediately enter those notes in.
While there are usability problems, and in user experience, usability is probably the key thing and the chief thing that we're concerned with. The cool factor is great. You've got a real problem, as Jonathan mentioned, that you're solving. You've got some auditory components. So you've got multiple modalities. You've got a lot of rich interaction. It's a really cool thing. You've got the LinkedIn integration. That cool factor is important, because what that's going to do for you is that's going to create user engagement. And engagement precedes usability. And so by engaging the user, they're going to be more likely to fight through some of the usability problems that you're going to have early on, until you iron out some of the kinks.
Speaking of usability, There were just a few small-ish things that I noticed. One of the core things we try to do in user-centered design is make sure the user always knows where they are, how they got there, and where they can go. And at least for me, just because like it was the first time I saw it, I noticed that where you're looking at the list of your contacts, there's like a row of buttons or something that you can push, and it didn't seem like any of those were selected. So I didn't really know exactly where I was when I was looking at it. And then also when you wind up in anywhere other than your card, at least to me, it wasn't clear immediately how I send my card to somebody else. I think you have to navigate back to your card, and then you get that big Trill button. So I would think a little bit more about that, like making sure the user can always get to that most important thing, which is to send your card to somebody else, and then just give the user some better indication about where they are, so that they don't get lost.
One thing I noticed, depending on the layout of the card that you're trying to send, is that sometimes, if I have a lot of them or I'm not sure exactly what information is on them and I want to double check and make sure, the button sometimes gets in the way of some of the information. And I mean, it's great because the button's obvious, but I'm wondering there may be some sort of visual elements or things to kind of alleviate that.
It seems like on the surface you've got a pretty simple thing that you're doing here, but there's a lot of hidden complexity. And part of it is, there's really two things. First of all, you have this relationship between the product and different actors in the system, different types of users. So you've got a sender and you've got a receiver, and you've got scenarios where one may have the app, one may not have the app, vice versa, right? And you've got to tease out all of the workflow and usability issues to support all of those different use cases. And then once you get in and you set up the card, then you've got some extended use cases where after you get that set up, you're going to add notes, and you're going to do tagging, and you're going to get into some of that additional functionality. This is really an extended use case, because what's likely to happen in real life is that the user's going to do these things sort of in rapid sequence, right? And so, there are some usability problems in terms of the gross workflow, and I would make sure that you test all of those to work out those problems, taking a very task-based focus and looking at those different user scenarios.
Experts, thank you for your feedback. Anjali, thank you. Let's have a round of applause for Trill Cards.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We'd love to know what you think in the comments below, so like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. It means the world to us, and we'll be back soon with more UX content for you coming your way. Until next time.